yo. Well, today I have a nice little treat for myself because I really enjoy talking to people who are into other things rather than what I am into, or come from a different background from where I come from. So today we will be talking to. He is from TikTok. I found him on TikTok. I saw a couple of his videos saying he was an ex-Mormon, but he left the religion, and I'm interested to know. I don't know how many people leave the religion or how often people leave that religion, but considering what I know, which is nothing at all about their religion, I assume that they don't leave it as often. But okay, I gotta set up the call, and where is it? There it is. So I am gonna make a Zoom call. Let me see. Okay. Well, how did I do it last time? Meeting. There we go. And can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
There he is. How's it going, bro?
How are you?
What a morning, right? First we scheduled it for 1 hour, and then we couldn't do it at that time. I had some kitchen difficulties with my kids, so yeah.
Oh, no worries. That's totally fine. I understand. I have a toddler, so
Yeah. You yourself got kids or no kids?
Oh yeah, I have a toddler. He's 3.5. I completely understand.
Yeah, I got two, an 8-year-old. He'll be 9 in January, and I have a 6-year-old as well. So let's get
nice.
Yeah. So let's get started, and let's start with who you are first.
My name is Daniel Henninger. I'm 26. I have a wife and son who's 3.5. I have a TikTok channel, which is how you contacted me. It's Daniel Down the Rabbit Hole. And I have a YouTube channel by the same name, where I make content about that is for people who have to kind of inform about the church. The YouTube channel is more for informational purposes. The TikTok channel presents information, but it's more for entertainment.
Right.
Yeah, about people who have left, about the Mormon church or leaving the Mormon church.
How many people leave the Mormon church? Because I grew up Catholic. It's like,
oh, you did?
Yeah, it's I don't know if it's I don't really know much about Mormonism. That's why I kind of wanted to talk to you, because you're already out of that scene, and you can freely and without any restrictions, you can speak on it like exactly what it is. Because if somebody is still in it, they're not going to speak clearly on what it is. They're only going to touch subjects that are convenient to them or for their argument. And as for you, since you're out, you have you're free to say whatever you want. And I want to know what is the Mormon religion about?
So that could go a lot of different directions with how I explained it, but it's like the idea is that the basis of it is that the teaching is that Joseph Smith, the starter of the church, that he was visited by God and Jesus Christ to say, hey, by the way, since I left the church and my apostles died, the priesthood authority and all of my communication with people has been gone for ages. No other church is valid or counts, and so we're going to give you the actual priesthood authority from John the Baptist and then you will start our church back up again and bring it back to fulfillment throughout the whole earth. And so that's the premise. That's like the basis. And so that's kind of like a lot of Christian religions. It's a very patriarchal structure, which leads to a lot of sexism in it as well. Kind of like a lot of Christianity, there's a lot of homophobia in it too. And some ideas that some kind of racist ideas that come from the origination of its time, but that are still present in some ways. And there's a lot of things about the church's history, that whole narrative, even just that brief part of the narrative I told you, that facts don't line up, the stories don't line up. There's different accounts from different people what actually happened. Even from Joseph himself, there's different accounts. But the idea is that, hey, we are the one valid church. We're the one true church. And you just listen to us, you pray, you read our Book of Mormon, which is the book that they subscribe to that's supposed to go with the Bible. And then you will have a spiritual confirmation that tells you that our church is the one true church. And so there's a lot more I could go into, but that's kind of a basic summary if someone hasn't heard of or doesn't really know much about the church.
Yeah, it's crazy because what you're saying right now, that they say that they're the true religion and all that. That's what Catholicism is too. They say we're the true religion. And my thinking on religion is that book was written thousands of years ago. And it was the language that was written on, it doesn't even exist today. Nobody even knows. Well, there's people that have studied it and they understand it, but they don't know it. And translation from Hebrew to Latin to wherever it went, and then to English, Spanish, or whatever else it went, everything changes. Every time I translate something for my wife from English to Spanish, like I tell her the things like I understand them. I don't tell her word for word because it's not going to make sense word for word because it changes. The statement changes when you translate it. And they all religions say the same thing, that they're the true one because they have the right Bible, I guess. But who's to say what's the right Bible? That book was written thousands of years ago. And like I said, the expressions in it, we don't understand them today. And everything in the Bible should not be taken literal. It should be taken as, what's the word I'm looking for? I lost my train of thought. But it shouldn't be taking, nothing in that book should be taken literal. It's a good book. That's not what I'm saying. It does good things for certain peoples where if you have a person that's like, that's been on a bad path their whole life and church turns them around, it's great. That's great for that. But for the other reasons, I have a conflict of interest, I guess, with the church because I really don't believe in anything they tell us. Yeah. And yeah.
It's interesting to hear about your experiences with being Catholic. And I hadn't really studied a lot about other religions. In Mormonism, they don't really emphasize learning about other things, other types of religions, even though there's a bunch out there. But like they can see there's a lot, how there could be a lot of similarities and types of problems.
Most of them are similar. Wasn't what is it like in the Mormon religion? Is that Scientology? Is it where you get a planet when you die or something like that? Or am I thinking of something else?
Well, I don't know what it's like in Scientology, so maybe it's there too. But in Mormonism, they believe that if you follow all the commandments that the Mormons follow, like their rules, then you can become in the highest tier of heaven, and then you become a god yourself to have your own eternal, like, spiritual children, and like endless cycle of birth and death, of like the whole plan that we're coming from, us being children of our God and Heavenly Father. They believe that's just going to be in a cycle that starts with every single person who goes, and it's like this eternal kind of infinity cycle of doing that, with your own planet too and everything. So that's part of the theology for sure.
Right. So according to the Mormon Bible, like where does life come from?
They believe that it's beyond human comprehension of how it started, but apparently our God used to be a human like ourselves with his own God, and he passed the test of following all his commandments, and that's how he became our God. And it just goes, and whenever you try to understand, like, what does that make sense for how it started, for how it ended, there isn't an explanation. They say, well, it's just beyond it's too mysterious, it's too beyond our human minds to comprehend. And so that's what they believe.
When I remember when I was 9 years old, I asked my grandpa, because I grew up with my grandparents. I didn't grow up with my parents. So I asked him, because he was very, very Catholic, like super religious. And I asked him, like, well, where does God come from? Like, well, I asked him first, where do we come from? And obviously he said God. And then I asked him, well, then where does God come from? And his answer to me was like, well, you're not supposed to ask that. And as an adult, I'm like, okay, why the fuck? Excuse me, I have a potty mouth. My bad. I told him, why the heck? I was thinking as an adult, I'm like, why the hell can I ask a question? It's just a simple question. It's not a statement. I'm not being disrespectful. I'm just asking a question. Why is it wrong to ask, where did God come from? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Do you guys have the same idea?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of that kind of suppression of questions. You're not supposed to ask questions. Like there's even like talks and lessons like, well, you can ask questions, but you can't be questioning. Like it's like they try and make this line between, well, you can try to intellectually understand things and learn more things, but if it's actually presents a problem or a real trial to what we're saying is true, to our truth claims, or makes it our religion seem like it might not work, or there's something problem or there's some flaw with it being perfect, if you're questioning in that way where it's not based on I already believe and I'm trying to find more confirmation bias, or if it's like deciding what to believe, like what you said, it's like, oh, you're not supposed to ask those questions.
Right. Yeah, right. It doesn't make sense even to say that. Like, why can I ask a question?
Right.
Yeah. What about so spiritually, what do they believe the soul is in Mormonism?
They say the terminology they use is like the body is like, just your immortal state that you use, and then the spirit is who you are in the pre-earth life and post-earth life, and the soul is the spirit and body together. And so they believe when you die, then your spirit goes up to heaven, and then when there's going to be a resurrection where your body and soul become one and become perfect and invulnerable and everything in the future forever. So that's kind of how they.
Right.
Your question. Yeah.
While you tell me this, I'm thinking and I'm thinking to myself, like, that's what you're telling me. The Mormon religion sounds a lot like those individuals that are really spiritual, not religious, but are spiritual, because they believe that your soul is energy, and after you're done here, you go somewhere else. Your energy goes somewhere else, right?
Mm-hmm.
To me, it sounds like exactly the same thing. I don't know. I could be wrong though. But what you're saying, that the Mormon religion, that's what it sounds like, because they believe in like you'll become a god and all that later, right? If you pass the test, air quotes. And and it makes me wonder, where did it start? Did it start from being somebody being really spiritual, or did it just flip over from another religion to that?
Where did the Mormon theology start, or where did the
the Mormon theology, yes,
of doing that? Oh, okay. I think that like some of these ideas were like kind of present in like the Protestant kind of like the religious background Joseph Smith had, but like a lot of the history and the theology, like his Mormonism, and they kind of pretend it's all one perfect truth that started and has always been the same way, but it's not the case. There's a lot of things that have changed over time. A lot of the changes were right in the beginning years, but like even, for example, he used to believe in the Trinity, he had a view of like God and Jesus and Holy Spirit being one being, and then later on, like he changed his scriptures and changed how he taught when he decided, oh, actually they're going to be three different beings, is how Mormons also believe. And so like that, for example, that belief of like having your own planets and like moving and like becoming God, your own gods, like I'm not sure where that idea originated, but it's like besides the Book of Mormon, they have this separate book called the Pearl of Great Price, where it has a variety of different other writings of Joseph Smith. And so when he says, oh, I have a revelation, he wrote it down. Oh, I have a revelation from God, he wrote it down. And so in his revelations, that's where the Mormon scriptural texts come from, is those revelations from Joseph Smith saying, hey, it's been revealed to me that this is our future. And so I don't know where he got the idea, but that's how it started in Mormonism.
Okay. Do you know the story of the commandments? Is it how do you guys have commandments? Is it 10?
Oh, like with Moses, like that story?
Yes. Okay. You guys follow that too, right?
Yeah, they believe in the Bible as well.
Okay. Yeah. So you know the story of Joseph and the 10 Commandments, right? And the burning bush? That they allegedly, that's an acacia tree that burned. and the acacia tree is full and rich with DMT. So Moses was probably tripping balls when he wrote those commandments, because if that tree is rich on DMT and is smoking in front of him, obviously he's inhaling the smoke, so he's gonna go on an adventure.
Right.
I don't know if you've heard of that. That's a theory I've heard on Reddit, but I don't know. Like I just wanted to throw it out there because it sounded good.
Yeah, that is really funny that you're sure that. Yeah, I'm not sure what to think myself now about different biblical stories. Like you said, thousands of years translation to translation. I learned Spanish, and it's like you can't translate, like you said, 100% in one language to the other. And so like, yeah, so just like what you're saying, that's funny. That I'm not sure which biblical stories come from some version of some crazy thing that happened, and which things were just like flat out made up out of,
Right.
But like that could have been like Moses. There could be a guy that was Moses, or like Moses, who had some kind of vision,
Right. Yeah. But really, he was just tripping balls. But like, then again, who's to say that's not really a vision when you go into that, because you're tapping into something else. That's right. I don't know. I've done mushrooms, so I kind of speaking of my experience. I don't know if you ever tried that.
Not mushrooms. No.
Okay. Good. Yeah, leave them for me. Anyhow, okay. So now that you left the religion, like how do you feel? Like what was your thought process before you left?
Well, like you're told not to, like you had said, never to question anything. Okay. And so like it's always anything that would show how the church could potentially not be true, or any kind of questioning or other things like that, is all referred to. They call it anti-Mormon material, like this persecution complex they have. Like, oh, if anyone's trying to say anything that could potentially disprove us or potentially make us look bad, they're out to get us, kind of idea. And so I would like, if Mormons are like scared of anything like that, like, oh, I don't want to read anything or hear anything or get exposed to that a lot of the time. And so anyways, I felt scared of that. But then I don't know if you've ever heard of Rhett and Link on YouTube, and they have like this podcast and other things. They grew up very evangelical Christians. Their names are Rhett and Link, and they had a podcast they do called Ear Biscuits, and they basically, I listened to one where they talked about them leaving their Christian religion, and I was like, wait a second, how come I've never asked questions myself of my high demand Christian religion? And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna actually look into this. And I'm gonna try and keep it short because there could be a lot I could say, but it was a very difficult process trying to kind of unraveling your whole worldview and saying this doesn't make sense, and hey, that's not what I was told, and finding out that there's a lot of cases where the church knows certain facts, but they tell that doesn't sound good, so they'll give you a different story to everyone growing up. And then all historians and other people who look into it agree, oh yeah, it happened this way actually. And I don't know, there's a lot of examples of that. So like there's a lot of feelings of like betrayal, a lot of kind of like world unraveling. And so it's very difficult for a lot of people, and it's to like go through a faith crisis like that. But for myself, at least several months later where I am now, it's like really freeing to be able to be like, hey, I can figure out what my values are and what I want, and choose how to live my life. And I have more income back that I'm not giving away in tithing towards a multi-billion-dollar church. I'm not
right.
I'm not devoting all the time for no purpose. I have a lot more freedom I can try alcohol and not feel bad. And different things like that.
But you know what? I consider this as well when I think of Mormons. From what I understand, they are the healthiest religion out there as far as health-wise for their bodies, because they don't consume a lot of the junk that what they would call outsiders, right? Air quotes, what they would call outsiders consume. So I think that's why they're a lot healthier than us out here, right? Do they make their own ice cream and everything, right? They make. I mean, I know they don't eat ice cream, right? Do they eat ice cream?
Yeah, they eat ice cream.
Okay. I don't know why I thought of ice cream, dude. My bad.
Oh, you might have heard of something like their church school, BYU. They're famous for their ice cream that they have there. So that might have been what you're.
Oh, okay, that might have been. I might have heard of somewhere. But
what's that?
No, go on. My bad.
Oh no! So in some ways, definitely, like they have this thing called the Word of Wisdom to help them, be more healthy but like the emphasis isn't so much on what makes most sense for your health, because like it even recommends against like green teas or other kinds of like, or other things that are like kind of questionable, where like coffee isn't necessarily proven to be like as far as unless I'm missing something, I could be wrong, but it's not necessarily proven to be like terrible for your body or anything. But like alcohol, yeah, that is unhealthy to have in excess. So they don't drink alcohol, they don't drink coffee, they don't drink tea unless it's like a herbal tea. So some of them, there's different very amounts of basis towards your health of how much it. But like they can't go to their temples and their ceremonies and count as worthy if they're drinking or those things. So I think it probably contributes to a healthier lifestyle in some ways doing that.
Yeah. That's that. I mean, I like that part. I mean, I try to be as healthy, but damn, everything's good. It's so hard. Maybe that's why I'm a sinner, right? Hey, another thing I've heard, I don't know how true it is. Marriage, the polygamy still goes on this side, or?
Oh, so like, yeah, they still believe in polygamy. They'll tell you if someone asks about polygamy, oh, no, we don't do polygamy. I don't know what you're talking about or whatever. Like there was even an interview with the prophet of the church in like 2002 with Larry King. I get the date wrong. I don't remember which. Maybe it was even a different talk show host and not Larry King. I'm pretty sure it was him.
But anyways, he was in the talk show.
Yeah, he was on a talk show on television. They asked about polygamy. He's like, "Oh no, it's not a doctrine we practice," but it totally is. Like so they don't believe in they started polygamy as like in the 1850s is like this is the only way to get to the highest tier of heaven. You have to be a polygamous wife or husband, or a husband with multiple wives, or a person who's with other wives assigned connected to one husband. And so they practice it, and then at that time it was seen as like barbaric and terrible, and you can't do polygamy, and it was illegal. And so they went to the Utah Territory, where they're out of the United States, to do it. And then they couldn't get their status as a state because they kept being polygamous, and it was illegal. And so they fought it, and then they said, okay, we're done being polygamous in the statements to the government, but they never changed their scriptures about the doctrine of polygamy. And so it was never a revelation or an official statement or anything saying, oh, by the way, polygamy is no longer important or necessary. We're just going to stop talking about it, and we're going to stop doing it. They still took like 30 years to actually stop, but then they finally stopped after they got their status as a state. But basically, as of like, so that's why they're like, I don't know if you've heard of the FLDS church. There's other branches of Mormonism who are like, hey, our church just told us to stop being polygamous, but we know the past prophet said we're supposed to always be polygamous. And so there's branches of Mormonism, because there's a whole lot of branches of Mormonism besides the main most popular LDS, Latter-day Saint Church, where they still practice polygamy today. That like where Warren Jeffs came from. I don't know if you've heard of.
No, I've never heard that name.
Oh, he's someone who went to jail for like marrying like 40 plus women, and some of them being children, and other kinds of like preteen girls and stuff like that. And so like it can go to very damaging levels. Right. So, but that he was within a branch of Mormonism that still practices polygamy. But in the LDS church, just to be clear, they don't practice polygamy on what they consider a mortal level, but like they believe in an afterlife ceiling to multiple women. Like there's people like the current prophet, I think too, like where his first wife, the first wife passes away, and then he marries another wife, not instead of or canceling the previous ceiling, but as well. So like there's like a lot of people in the church where certain situations have come up to where they believe they're going to be sealed to multiple women in the afterlife, and so that's the eternal version of polygamy, but they still practice. So it's not completely gone. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. What did you say was the prophet? The name of the prophet?
Current prophet?
That started it. That started the polygamy?
Joseph Smith was the first polygamist and the originator of the church, but he kept it all a big secret. He didn't want anyone to know about it until after he died. Then it became popular with the second prophet, Brigham Young, Brigham Young is the one who's like most popularly known for his polygamy because he had a ton of wives, and several prophets after him were very, very, very polygamous, and a lot of them still had really young wives too. And there's a lot of reasons that I don't think that they're actual prophets of God myself, but
dirtbags, huh?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Hey, that Joseph Smith must have been a freak if he had 40 wives, dude.
Right?
One is, it's really hard to manage, Now imagine 40. Jesus.
Right?
You guys don't believe in Jesus, right?
Yeah, we still believe in Jesus. Yeah,
As a
the Mormon.
prophet or as the God?
What's that?
As a prophet or as the God?
They believe in as the God who did the atonement, who like atoned for everyone's sins as the Son of God. Um, and so yeah, they still believe in him, and there's been some changes recently where they're trying to make it a little more focused on Jesus, which I think is, so there's some positive things about the church, because I think there's a lot of good things that Jesus taught. But yeah, they believe in him as a God figure, as the Son of a Heavenly Father. They basically.
You know when I started believing that the Bible was bullshit?
When
Damn, I lost my train of thought. Fuck, why did I even
Oh, you're good.
What were you saying before that? Damn it. It was a good
Of Jesus being the Son of God. They believe that.
Oh, yes. I remember now. My bad. I do that a lot. Yeah. I started believing it was bullshit when I started learning about the kings in Europe.
Oh, yeah.
The book of James, that's King James in Europe, right? Why is there a book in the Bible of a king? Why? There's only one reason why there would be: to control. That's the only reason they would put, and that's when I started believing, like, that's bullshit. I mean, I shouldn't say all of it, but for the most part, a great majority of it is bullshit, I think. Because it's like we mentioned earlier, it's translation gets corrupted and then gets confused. It goes all over the place, and you can never translate something from a language to another 100%, because you'll only translate it as you understand it, like I said, and especially a language that doesn't even exist today. Yeah.
No, I completely agree with you, and like I think you made this point earlier about that whole translation issue, is when it's gone through so many inaccurate translations and biased people, and like you said, it's the King James version itself. That is really popular. There's a that it doesn't make sense to me to then really read between the lines and take a whole lot of meaning out of the exact phrasing and which word was used or wasn't used, which a lot of religions or pastors will say is like, well, in the Bible it says quote, and they'll quote exactly what the line is and what the way it was phrased, and that means this, and they'll read so much meaning when like you said, there could be so many inaccuracies in how it's translated over time. It's like, yeah, I just wanted to say I completely understand that. Yeah,
right. There's passages in there that I believe they were real, like the flood, the Great Flood. I think that was real.
Oh yeah.
Like, look, I've never been, but I've seen pictures online. I've only seen pictures. I've never been to the Grand Canyon. How do you explain that? That's either over years or a great big body of water that went through there. It's one of the two. It might have been. I don't know. I don't know anything about landscaping or anything like that. I'm just taking a wild guess. But I think the Great Flood was real. Don't you?
Me personally, just from what at least like the way that species has originated and progressed, natural selection. If there was some kind of Great Flood, I feel like it would have had to be like not the way it said, killing completely all the organisms on the planet except for 2 of each one, and then in the last 4,000 years everything has gotten to where it is now. I don't think that would. I don't personally believe that happened, but like some people believe in like a limited geography kind of a flood theory of like certain, and so it would really depend on if there is some kind of like godlike force to create that, I think, or I don't know, maybe some kind of cataclysmic storm caused some kind of giant flood.
I think that's what it was. Exactly what you just said, a cataclysm. I think that's
yeah. So it's something that could happen. I don't know for sure. I no longer like try to so much like in Mormonism they very much try to say they understand or know almost everything, like, oh, we have an answer for that, for like, but I don't feel the need to no longer like make declarative statements. I know this did or did not happen, so I'm okay with being like, yeah, I don't know, maybe it happened of some kind, I don't know.
Right. Religion is great for doing that, though. Every single religion out there is great for doing that, making them seem like they know that that's the truth. But yeah, I personally know they're already lying to me, especially when somebody tells me, "Oh, God is real," and I'm like, but is he? I mean, I believe in a higher power. I do. I'm not saying there's no higher power, but the God that we've been taught about, I don't think that's it. I think that's just something fiction that they've created to control everything else. Because look, don't go too far back. Let's go as far as the 1500s, right? When the Spaniards came to the Americas, right? What did they bring first? Priest with the cross trying to convert everybody, and if you didn't convert, you were dead. They'll kill you. What kind of God does that? What kind of a God sends people to do that? And that thing didn't even stop with the time, because look at what happened a couple of years back. The guy that went to the island off of the coast of India. Did you hear about that?
A couple years ago? No, I didn't. What happened?
It was an Asian mission. I don't know if he was Asian, but I don't know where he was from. But he went to an island off of the coast of India. And I guess that the Indian government doesn't let anybody go to that island, because the people that live there, the natives that live there, they protect that island tooth nail. They shoot everybody who comes in there. Oh. So this guy comes in the island with his Bible, and they didn't want to hear it. They filled him up with arrows. They killed him. Oh wow. Yeah. There's been other instances where ships have wrecked in that same area right there in that island, and those natives come out and they start shooting arrows at them. So people can't even go into that island because of that reason. And I'm pretty sure that has already happened in the past where it went south, and that's why those people are not having that shit nowadays. So that's crazy, because look at how long it's been, and humans are still trying to do the same thing, trying to convert them into what they believe. I think they should just let people believe what they believe, and at the end of the day, if there is a God and if there is a heaven where we go, then it's on you. Right. That's my thought. What's that? That's my thought. I said.
No, I really like that. That makes sense a lot, because when it comes to religious events that happen out of a religious intent or the purposes that came from religion, usually there's so many instances where the religion is used as a scapegoat, or used as this is why, when they actually have ulterior other kind of motives for the reason they're doing it for their own biases or for their own gain or other things like that. I think that religion is often abused and misused in that way, and yeah, to do that.
Yeah. And the last thing I wanted to touch on, I know that there is a branch of the Mormon religion that headed down south because of the polygamy. How big is that community down in Mexico?
Down in Mexico?
Yeah.
I know that because what happened when they did this statement about polygamy? They said, well, Mexico I think it was also illegal in Mexico at the time, but there was less repercussions or easier to avoid.
You could get away with a lot down there.
Yeah, exactly. And so there were some people that went to Mexico to practice polygamy, and some went to Canada to practice polygamy. And I actually haven't looked into that very much. I don't really know how big it is. I know that the largest church is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints out of Salt Lake, but the other ones, I feel like I know that they're a lot smaller, but I don't really know. I wish I knew more specifics of how big is it? How much is really going on down there?
No, that's not what I was asking. I did ask how big it was, but what I was asking is so it's true that it's down there?
I know there's this church called the FLDS church where they still practice polygamy.
Oh, okay.
My understanding was that it's mostly out of St. George, Utah, southern Utah area where they practice that, or where that's happening, Nevada or New Mexico area. As far as in the country of Mexico, I don't know actually. I haven't heard much about that. I don't know. I know that there was some polygamy that moved into Mexico because of we were saying earlier, but I don't know how much is practiced down there compared to southern Utah. Most of what I've heard is in southern Utah, where they still dress.
That's where you live. That's where you're at right now in Utah.
Yeah, I'm in Utah.
Oh, okay. Oh, you stayed in the area. I thought you would have left to another state or something. Did you
thought about it?
Oh, you thought about it?
Yeah, we have a lot of family here though, so it's we don't really want to leave family, but
right. You always want to be around them. You always need them, so yeah, might as well stay around them.
Yeah,
but hey, I'm glad. There's you out there. There's people like you out there that are really coming out and talking their side of the story, their experience that they experienced after leaving. Like I said earlier, like 'cause you can freely speak on it now rather than before. Like you said, when you were first thinking about changing your course of your life, excuse me. When you were thinking about changing the course of your life, you said you were scared of it because you were scared that you were gonna go to hell, right? Air quotes, right? So there's times that I feel the same, even nowadays, that I feel the same. Like, am I wrong? Because like there's all these things saying that this is right, but according to my understanding of life, is like that doesn't make sense. So I don't know what the deal is, but I'm just glad that you're out there, and like I'm glad that I found you because I've always wanted to talk to somebody that left Mormon religion. Because yeah, I mean it wasn't like a bucket list thing, but I always wanted to. You know, I want to talk to Muslims too. I want to talk to all of them because I want to know about it. I want to know how they think. Because like I said, I grew up Catholic, and I've been around Christians, so I know more or less how they think. They're liars. They all lie. They say they know it's true, but they don't know. Now, I was talking to one of my aunts, and then she was swearing up and down that she knows. And I was like, "You're lying to me. I know you're lying to me." And she's like, "Why do you think I'm lying to you?" I was like, "Because you don't know for sure. You have faith that it is, but you don't know." And she just tried to turn the faith into like trying to say that she knew, but it's an endless argument every time I talk to her because every time we go at it. But I mean, it's all, you know, at the end of the day, we always hug it up and just go on our way. But it's just a conversation. It stays there. It never gets further than that. Yeah. Yeah. Well,
no, I completely agree that there's like I think the terminology should change into just accepting this is faith and this is belief. This isn't knowing. And I know that's prevalent in, especially in Mormonism, but I'm sure, like you said, in other like Catholicism and other religions where they say no when they really mean believe. But like, I personally agree with that. I don't think anyone could really know. Like they can think or guess, but they don't really know. And so that's kind of my biggest thing recently is like, what I do know is I know I'm alive now, and I know I'm here until I die. And I know that after that, I don't know. And so I want to make the most of what I do know and not hang my hopes and bets and give up the way I want to live or give up what I think is important or virtuous or valuable, whatever it is. And if I want to swear, then shit, I'll swear. If I want to drink alcohol, I'll do that. If I want to, as long as it's like value, as long as it's like, there's nothing inherently wrong or damaging about it. I want to be able to live my own life how I want to.
As long as you're not hurting anybody.
After this life, I guess we'll see what happens. And hopefully I was a good enough person if there is some kind of higher power that's going to judge me. Right.
Yeah. That's what I said earlier. I mean, if it came down to it and it was what they said it was, then I guess I fucked up. And on that note, my friend Dan, man, it's awesome. I love this conversation. We should definitely do it again, man. We should definitely keep it going. Yeah, we should schedule. I'll get back to you and we'll schedule something, and I'll be on time next time.
Oh, you're good.
I appreciate your time, dude. Really, really, I do. Thank you. And this should be going up. If not, tomorrow, Monday. I usually upload my main 3 days. I've been lagging a lot lately, but I usually do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So I try to do 3 a week, but I've been lagging because 2 weeks ago I tested positive for COVID.
Yeah, I heard you guys are talking about that.
Yeah, but it's all good now. I mean, I only lost my sense of smell for a couple of days, but no, my taste for a couple of days. My sense of smell is still not 100%, but we're good. We're good. Yeah. All right, bro. I'm gonna let you go, and I appreciate your time. Like I said, we should definitely do this again, and I'll get back to you to reschedule it because there's a lot more questions that are coming up, and I have the free Zoom, so I only get 40 minutes, and I'm running short already.
No worries. Yeah, I'm happy to. I'd be happy to if you have to have back on it. Thank you for having me.
Go ahead and plug your channel, your YouTube channel, and all that.
Okay. Yeah, I have Daniel Down the Rabbit Hole on TikTok, mostly for entertainment purposes. I think they're funny, but depending on what they're mostly for the validating and help is for the. lot of it, sometimes people comment, oh, that doesn't make sense, or I don't get the reference. So I try to make it a little more relatable, but sometimes it's very specific references I'm making. But for YouTube channel, Daniel Down the Rabbit Hole, that's more for going in depth on issues with the Mormon church. It's more geared towards Mormons who don't understand why that would be a problem, or towards people who want to understand the church better. That's actually the main resource where that might be more interesting to, depending on your context or background, is Daniel Down the Rabbit Hole on YouTube. I'm actually uploading a video about sexism probably today or tomorrow in the church, and I've only got a couple other videos on there so far, but I'm going to be doing more in the future too.
For sure. And on that note, my friend, chive on. All right. All right, bro. I'll see you next time. All right.
Next time. Thank you. Right. Have a good one.
All right. Thank you. Yo, my friend Dan. I don't know how to say his last name. My bad, bro. Yes, Daniel Down the Rabbit Hole on TikTok. Yo, interesting. That's an individual who had a different set of mind. Was given or thought a different set of mind as a child, and like me as an adult made his own decision in living the religion, which is whether it's good or bad, I don't know, but he seems happy with his decision, so more power to him. Like I said, this is our 2 cents. Deuces.